My name is Lucila Glover, and I'm 27 years old. I never thought I'd become the kind of woman who secretly recorded conversations with her own mother. That always sounded dramatic, paranoid, like something people did in movies, not real life. But here I am, sitting cross-legged on my living room floor in Chicago, my laptop open, headphones on, listening to my mother's voice loop through carefully labeled audio files. Family helps family, Lucila. You're being selfish. Your sister is struggling and you know it. This apartment is small, 650 square feet, 1 bedroom, exposed brick along the living room wall and hardwood floors that creak at night when the city finally quiets down. It's not luxury, it's not impressive, but it's mine. I bought it 2 years ago with money I earned myself. Student loans, scholarships, late nights, skipped vacations, and a job that demanded more of me than I ever admitted out loud. When I signed the papers, I cried in my car afterward. Not because I was overwhelmed, but because for the first time in my adult life, something belonged to me and couldn't be taken away. At least, that's what I believed then. I'm the oldest of 3 children. My sister Maya is 20, still in college, studying marketing. My younger brother Evan just turned 18 and started his freshman year. Our parents divorced when I was 15. It wasn't clean, it wasn't quiet. My dad moved to Seattle with his new wife, and my mom stayed behind in suburban Illinois with us and a resentment that never really softened. She leaned on me after that. I became the dependable one. The responsible daughter, the one who didn't cause trouble. I started working at 14, paid my way through school, never asked for help unless I absolutely had to, and even then, I apologized for it. When Mom complained about money, I listened. When she cried about being alone, I stayed on the phone. When Maya needed help, I stepped in. Maya was different. At least, that's how Mom framed it. She's sensitive, Lucila, Mom always said. You've always been stronger. That sentence followed me everywhere. It explained why I should sacrifice, why I should give more, why I should understand. 6 months ago, Maya started spending more time at my apartment. At first, I didn't think anything of it. She said it was quieter than her place, better for studying. Her studio apartment was tiny, barely 300 square feet, and in a neighborhood Mom constantly complained about. I let her come over. Then she started staying late, then overnight. Then I noticed clothes in my closet that weren't mine, a toothbrush by my sink, her textbooks stacked neatly on my bookshelf like they'd always belonged there. Before I realized what was happening, she was sleeping at my place 4 nights a week. My utility bills doubled. My space started to feel smaller. Not physically, but emotionally. Like I was shrinking inside my own home. When I finally brought it up, I was careful, gentle. Hey, I said one night while she was scrolling through her phone on my couch. Do you think you could either chip in for utilities or maybe spend a little more time at your place? She looked at me like I'd slapped her. I'll talk to Mom, she said quietly. That should have been my warning. The first call came 2 days later. Lucila, Mom said, already sighing into the phone. Why are you making things difficult for your sister? I tried to explain about the bills, about needing my space, about the fact that Maya already had an apartment, one Mom was helping her pay for. Family helps family, Mom said, her tone sharp now. You have all that space to yourself. It's selfish not to share. I reminded her, calmly, that I was still paying off student loans, that I worked hard for this apartment, that I wasn't refusing to help. I was asking for basic respect. How can you let your sister live like that when you're so comfortable? She asked. I raised you better than this. Those conversations became weekly, sometimes twice a week. Always the same phrases, always the same pressure, always framed as concern, never control. Then Mom escalated. She started showing up unannounced, with Maya right behind her. They'd walk through my apartment slowly, like they were touring a listing, commenting on the space, on how Maya's desk would fit perfectly in the corner, how the second closet could easily hold her clothes. Once, I caught Mom opening my bedroom door and glancing inside like she was measuring something in her head. 3 months ago, she finally said it out loud. She called me on a Tuesday evening while I was working from home, debugging code, my screen glowing in the dark. "I've been thinking," she said. "The most logical solution is for you and Maya to switch apartments." I nearly dropped my phone. "Switch?" I repeated. "Mom, I own my apartment. Maya rents hers." "Not permanently," she said quickly, "just temporarily, until she graduates. You're single. You don't need all that space." I felt something shift inside me then. Not anger. Something colder. "That's not how real estate works," I said, "and I'm not giving up my home." "Don't be difficult, Lucila," she snapped. "We'll work out the details. Maya could pay you rent, you could stay in her place. The rent Maya paid wouldn't even cover half my mortgage." "Well," Mom said dismissively, "we'd figure something out. The important thing is taking care of your sister." That night, after I hung up, I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I didn't call anyone. I opened my phone and downloaded a recording app. It felt wrong, sneaky. But something deep in my chest told me this wasn't over, and that I was done being the only one without proof. I started saving everything: screenshots, voicemails, emails. I installed a small security camera at my apartment entrance after I discovered Maya somehow had a copy of my key. I told myself it was temporary, just in case. But as the weeks passed, the evidence stacked up, and with it, a realization I wasn't ready to face yet. This wasn't about helping Maya. This was about control. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't going to give it to her. Once I started recording, I couldn't stop noticing patterns I'd spent my whole life excusing. The guilt always came first. Soft, almost reasonable. "Your sister's under so much stress, Lucila. You know how fragile she is. I just don't understand how you can sleep at night knowing she's struggling." Then came the comparisons. Other daughters would be grateful to help. "When I was your age, I sacrificed everything for my family. You're starting to sound just like your father." That one always landed like a bruise. I listened to the recordings late at night, sitting on my couch with the lights off, my apartment humming softly around me. Hearing my mother's voice played back stripped it of its power. Without my instinctive urge to explain myself, her words sounded sharper, more calculated, less loving than I'd told myself they were. And Maya? She played her role perfectly. She stopped asking me directly for anything. Instead, she'd sigh loudly while scrolling through apartment listings on my couch, mention how unsafe her neighborhood felt, how cramped her place was, how hard it was to focus on school when she felt unsettled. Once, she casually said, "Mom thinks it's kind of unfair you have all this space when I'm barely surviving." She didn't look at me when she said it. Mom's visits increased after that, always unannounced, always with Maya in tow. They'd show up in the middle of my workday, knocking like they owned the place. When I didn't answer immediately, Mom would use the spare key. The spare key I never gave her. That's when I checked my locks and realized Maya had copied it. The camera footage was surreal. My own front door opening while I was at work. Mom walking in confidently. Maya trailing behind, laughing. They wandered through my apartment like it was already decided. I watched them pause in my bedroom. "This would be perfect," Maya said, flopping onto my bed, especially when Jason stays over. Jason, her boyfriend, 25, unemployed. A detail Mom somehow never knew. Mom laughed. "We'll figure that out later." Later, apparently, included me not living there. 3 weeks after that, Mom called another planning conversation. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't threaten. She spoke slowly, like she was explaining something obvious to a child. "Lucila, your sister's lease ends in 2 months. That's the perfect transition point. You can start moving your things out gradually." My hands went numb. "I'm not moving," I said. There was a pause, then a sigh. "Why are you being so stubborn?" "I'm not stubborn," I said. "I'm setting a boundary." She laughed softly. "No, you're being selfish." That word again. After that call, the texts started coming faster. Screenshots piled up in my phone. Accusations, guilt, reminders of everything she'd ever done for me. Threats to rethink her will. Messages to relatives painting me as cold, ungrateful, and difficult. I stopped responding. Instead, I organized. I labeled audio files by date and topic. I counted how many times she called me selfish, how many times she implied I didn't love my family, how many times she compared me to my father like it was a weapon. I backed everything up. Cloud storage, an external drive, a USB I kept at work. I wasn't sure what I was preparing for, but I knew something was coming. It arrived on a Sunday morning. Mom texted, "Family meeting today at 2. We need to finalize the apartment situation." Not a question, a declaration. I stood in my kitchen, reading the message, sunlight spilling across the floor I'd paid for. For the first time, I didn't feel panic. I felt calm. If they wanted a meeting, they were going to get one, just not the one they were expecting. I spent the morning moving through my apartment like someone preparing a stage. The curtains were open. The place was clean, but not polished. No effort to impress. I wanted it to look exactly like what it was, a home that belonged to me. I connected my laptop to the TV, tested the HDMI twice, then once more for good measure. I arranged folders on my desktop in a clean row, each one labeled with dates and short clinical descriptions. Calls, texts, unauthorized entry, family meeting prep. I set my phone face down on the coffee table, recording already on. At 1:58 p.m., there was a knock. Mom didn't wait for me to answer. She used the key. The lock turned, the door opened, and she walked in like she'd rehearsed it. Maya followed behind her, eyes scanning the apartment, a small smile tugging at her lips. They sat on my couch. My couch. Mom crossed her legs, smoothing her coat like she was settling into a position of authority. "We need to discuss the timeline," she said immediately. "Maya's lease ends in 2 months, and that gives us just enough time to plan the switch." I didn't sit down. "No," I said. Mom blinked. "Excuse me?" "I'm not switching apartments," I said calmly. "I've told you that repeatedly. This is my home. I bought it. The discussion is over." Her face flushed red so fast it startled me. "Lucilla Marie Glover," she snapped, using my full name like a threat. "You will not speak to me like that. I'm your mother, and I know what's best for this family." "No," I said again. "You know what's best for Maya, and I'm done pretending that's the same thing." Maya shifted uncomfortably. Her smile disappeared. "How dare you," Mom said, standing now. "After everything I've sacrificed for you." "Before you continue," I interrupted, my voice steady in a way I barely recognized. "There's something you should know." I picked up the remote and turned on the TV. "I've been documenting our conversations for the past month." Silence slammed into the room. Maya's eyes widened. Mom's mouth opened, then closed. "You did what?" Mom whispered. I clicked the first file. Her voice filled the apartment. "Lucilla, you're being incredibly selfish. What kind of daughter lets her sister suffer while she lives comfortably? I'm ashamed of you." Mom went pale. "You recorded me without my permission," she said, shaking. "That's illegal." "I live in Illinois," I said evenly. "It's a 2-party consent state. These recordings are for my own protection. I've spoken to a lawyer friend. I can't use them in court, but I can share them with family members, or publicly, to defend myself against the lies you've been telling." I played another clip. This one was her voice, on the phone with my aunt, calling me cold, ungrateful, and implying I was emotionally unstable for being attached to my apartment. Maya gasped. "Mom." "I'm not done," I said. I pulled up the security footage. "This is you and Maya entering my apartment while I was at work, measuring rooms, taking photos, going through my closet. That's trespassing." Mom took a step back. "You wouldn't dare." I held up my phone. "I have a post drafted. It includes the recordings, the videos, the texts where you threaten to cut me off if I don't give Maya my apartment. Our entire extended family would see it. Your church friends, your coworkers." Maya finally spoke. Her voice was small. "Lucilla, please, you don't have to do this." I turned to her. "Oh, but I do, because you've been part of this too." I clicked another file. Her voice this time. She has to be hiding money. There's no way she can afford that place otherwise. Another clip. If mom pushes harder, she'll cave. She always does. Maya started crying. And this, I added quietly, is you planning to move your boyfriend in my apartment, without telling anyone. Mom collapsed back onto the couch. What do you want? She asked hoarsely. Simple, I said. This stops. No more apartment discussions. No more guilt trips. No more lies to the family. No more entering my home without permission. Maya visits once a week, only when invited, and you both apologize, genuinely. And if we don't? Maya whispered. I lifted my phone again. Then everyone sees everything. Mom's face went from pale to sickly green. You're blackmailing us, Maya said weakly. No, I replied. I'm protecting myself. You've been emotionally blackmailing me for months. I'm just better prepared. We sat in silence. Finally, Mom spoke. I'm sorry, she said, barely audible, for the pressure, for the lies, for trying to force you out of your apartment. I looked at Maya. I'm sorry too, she mumbled. I just hated my place, and yours is so nice. You're 20, I said softly. It's time to stop letting Mom fight your battles. They left shortly after. No yelling, no final threats, just quiet defeat. When the door closed, my apartment felt different. Still mine, but no longer under siege. The silence after they left didn't feel peaceful at first. It felt suspended, like the air was waiting to see what I'd do next. I stood in the middle of my living room for a long time, staring at the closed door, my phone still warm in my hand from recording. My heart was racing, but underneath the adrenaline was something unfamiliar, relief. For the first time in months, maybe years, my space was mine again. No footsteps I hadn't invited, no voices telling me what I owed, no calculations about how to phrase a boundary without sounding cruel. I sat down on the couch and let the recording keep running for another 5 minutes, just in case. Then I turned it off. I didn't hear from Mom that night, or the next day. That alone told me how hard I'd hit her. 2 days later, my brother Evan called. Lucy, what did you do to Mom? He asked, confused more than accusatory. She hasn't come out of her room. Maya's barely speaking to anyone. I closed my eyes. Of course she'd flipped the narrative. Did she tell you what she's been trying to do? I asked. She said something about an apartment misunderstanding, he said. That you're threatening her? I sighed. Evan, listen to me. I'm going to send you a few audio files, just a few. Then you tell me what you think. I sent 3 recordings. Nothing nuclear, just enough. He didn't. Holy hell, he finally said. She's been doing this to you for months? Longer, I said quietly. That's not a misunderstanding, he said. That's manipulation. Hearing him say it out loud did something to me. I hadn't realized how badly I needed someone else to name it. Evan understood immediately. He told me Mom had been pressuring him too, about his major, about his future, about being the last chance for the family to succeed. He sounded tired, older than 18. By Wednesday, the extended family got involved. My Aunt Denise called first, using the careful tone she reserved for family crises. Lucilla, she said, your mother is distraught. She says you're threatening to humiliate her publicly over a simple family disagreement. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Did she mention breaking into my apartment? I asked. Or lying to the family? Or calling me unstable behind my back? Silence. I have recordings, Denise, I continued. Would you like to hear them? That won't be necessary, she said quickly. I need time to process this. Within hours, the family group chat exploded. Questions, half-truths, defensiveness. Then something unexpected. Denise confronted Mom, and Mom cracked. Just enough. She admitted she'd exaggerated. That word again. Exaggerated. Like trying to steal my home was a misunderstanding of tone. The real chaos arrived Friday evening. Maya's boyfriend, Jason, showed up at my apartment, unannounced. He knocked like he was trying to intimidate the door itself. You need to apologize to Maya, he said when I opened it. She's been crying all week because of you. I looked at him calmly. You're Jason, I said. the unemployed 25-year-old who planned to move into my apartment, his face drained of color. You don't know what you're talking about. I took out my phone and played the audio. She always caves, his voice said clearly. Once her mom pushes hard enough, we'll be in that place by summer. He stepped back. Get out, I said, and don't come back. Next time, I call the police. He didn't argue. Maya called an hour later, furious, more embarrassed than anything. I reminded her that Jason was lucky I hadn't reported him for harassment. That night, my phone rang again. This time, it was my father. We hadn't spoken properly in years. Lucila, he said, hesitant. Your mother says you're threatening to destroy her reputation. When's the last time you talked to any of us? I asked. He went quiet. I sent him everything. All of it. He called back 2 hours later, voice shaking. This is abuse, he said. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. It didn't fix the past, but it shifted something. By Sunday, the family lines had redrawn themselves. Some people distanced themselves from Mom. Others stayed neutral. A few reached out quietly to say thank you for finally saying what no one else had. Monday morning, Maya showed up alone. She looked wrecked. Red eyes, messy hair, wearing one of my old hoodies she'd stolen years ago. Can we talk? She asked. I let her in, and I turned my phone on, just in case. Maya sat at my kitchen table like she didn't recognize the room anymore. Her shoulders were slumped. Her hands twisted the sleeves of my old hoodie, one I'd thought I'd lost years ago. I stayed standing, leaning against the counter, my phone face down, but recording. I listened to the recordings, she said finally. All of them. The ones Mom didn't think I heard. I didn't interrupt. I didn't realize how bad it was, she continued, voice shaking. How bad I was. Mom's been telling me since high school that you got everything, that Dad favored you, that you were always chosen over me. That's not true, I said quietly. I know that now, she whispered. I talked to Dad. We talked for 3 hours. He sent me pictures from before the divorce. You were always protecting me, carrying my backpack, walking me home. She started crying. Real crying. Not the kind meant to trigger guilt. Mom made me believe I deserved your apartment, she said. That you were selfish for not sharing. I never questioned it. I just took. You're 20, I said gently. Not a kid. You made choices. I know, she nodded. I lied about Jason. I let him plan things. I went along with Mom. That's on me. We talked for 2 hours. About the divorce, about being pitted against each other, about how Mom used Maya as proof she was still needed, and used me as proof she was still right. I want to change, Maya said finally. I got a job, a real one. I'm paying you back for the utilities, and I told Mom I won't play along anymore. You don't have to choose sides, I said. I already did, she replied softly. I chose myself. She hugged me before she left. The first real hug in years. That night, Mom broke her silence, not with a call, but an email. Long, rambling. Half apologies, half accusations. I destroyed the family. I was just like my father. I'd regret this when she was gone. I wrote a response. Deleted it. My cousin, Rachel, a therapist, had told me not to engage. Any response feeds the cycle, so I didn't. 3 weeks passed in silence. Then Thanksgiving loomed. Mom sent a group text. Hosting Thanksgiving as usual. Hope everyone can make it. The replies were hesitant. Private messages followed. I told everyone the truth. I would attend only if Mom acknowledged what she'd done and apologized. To all of us. Maya surprised everyone by responding publicly. I won't come unless Lucila is treated with respect. Evan followed. Same. I'm done pretending this is normal. For the first time, the 3 of us stood together. Mom called me that night, crying. Not manipulative crying, the other kind. I don't want to lose my children, she said. Then stop trying to control us, I replied. She asked for help finding a therapist. To my shock, she went and kept going. Thanksgiving was small, Chinese takeout, awkward apologies, specific ones. No excuses. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. The real test came at Christmas. Since you have the biggest apartment, Mom started on the phone. She stopped herself. Sorry, she said. Would you be willing to host? I said yes. With rules. She followed every one. January brought more changes. Mom started dating. Maya saved money. Evan changed his major. Dad visited once a month. Slowly, carefully. 3 months after the confrontation, Mom called me. How's work? She asked. Busy, I said. That's nice. I won't keep you. Just wanted to say I love you. No guilt, no agenda. I still have the recordings. Backed up, encrypted. Not as blackmail, but as memory. Proof of how bad it was. And how boundaries saved us. My apartment is still my sanctuary, but it's not a fortress anymore.